I'm honored and very happy to be here. First, I would like to thank our owner, Patrick Aderi, for this amazing challenge called I-24 News. I gave myself a mission since I was young, and it's to be the bridge between Arabs and Jews. And I-24 News is the base for this mission. With me from Tel Aviv is my colleague, news anchor Jeff Smith, and the man who took this challenge and turned it into reality, our CEO, Frank Melul. This conference focuses on the special bond between the United States and Israel. But the relationship does not exist in a vacuum. Both countries depend on strong allies around the globe. Today, we are honored to host the leader of a nation that has proven itself a steadfast friend of both America and Israel. To discuss the geopolitical issues shaping the world today and tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, here to give us a global perspective, please join me in welcoming Prime Minister of the Republic of Albania, His Excellency Edi Rama. Welcome, Mr. Prime Minister. A little over 2 years ago, you visited in Israel on an official state trip, visiting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other leaders. A number of agreements were signed, both in the realm of security and private sector investments. Can you outline for us, please, some of those partnerships and tell us what more can be done to strengthen your country's relationship with Israel?
First of all, I want to say that I'm very honored and very humbled to speak in front of your audience as the Prime Minister of Albania, a country where there were more Jews after the Second World War than before. And the salvation of Jews during the Second World War is a very shining page of our history, but not the only one concerning the relations of Jews with Albania. Your ancestors came to find refuge in Albania 3 other times before, in the 1st century, in the 15th century, in the 17th century, and they always found it. So our relation with the State of Israel is very special and excellent. And of course, we want to see it develop, and we want to see more happening between us. And by the way, for the first time this year will be a direct flight from Israel to Albania during summertime. So I very much wish that what once upon a time was defined by Leo Elton in his report of 1935 as the second land of Hebrews will become your second home for holidays. So, very much welcome to Albania.
Mr. Prime Minister, your country is in a complex and increasingly important region for Israel. With Israel-friendly neighbors like Montenegro and Greece on your borders, how can Albania help lead a Balkan effort to deepen the region's relationship with Israel and support the Jewish state in areas ranging from security assistance to voting in the UN?
I think by, first of all, telling our story and protecting our common values. I want to share with you that I'm personally engaged to build a Jewish-Albanian friendship cultural center in the heart of Tirana, our capital city. And we have engaged the author, the great author of the Holocaust Museum in Berlin, Daniel Libeskind, who is working with us for a project. And we want this center to tell the story of our relationship to our kids, but also to our neighbors. And in the meantime, I would very much like to see a twin of this center built in Jerusalem, where people of all faiths and beliefs can be taught the amazing story of how, beyond all faiths and beliefs, Albanians save Jews like humans for humans. Albania is a country of Muslims and Christians, but it's also fully committed against terrorism and violent extremism. And this makes us natural allies in nowadays in a common front against these enemies. And we are building in Tirana also a regional center against violent extremism. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has promised that Israel will be among the partners for making this center a point of reference in the whole region. So I very much believe that Albania represents a stunning example of how a country where Muslims and Christians live together is also a country that protects nothing more and nothing less than the same values that Israel protects with its own existence and with its own resilience.
Mr. Prime Minister, Albania has a proud legacy of its treatment of Jews during World War II. As an occupied country, Albania not only protected its own Jewish community, but provided refugee for Jews from neighboring countries. It is well documented that Albania refused to comply and hand over lists of Jewish community members. What was the basis of such heroism and compassion?
I wanted to know that Albania was the first country in Europe in 1932, when anti-Semitism was already a widespread doctrine, to recognize the right of Jew community to organize and also to legitimize Shabbat. So the story is absolutely amazing because Jews were saved by both Muslim families, but also by the Catholic clergy. It's a very famous the story of one of the highest hierarchs of our Catholic clergy that by totally bypassing catechism, baptized many Jews to change their identity and to protect them from the Nazis. At the same time, it's an interesting episode when one of the hierarchs of Nazis regime, Hermann Neubacher, on 1943 called upon the four representatives of our four religious communities to give the list of Jews and the gold that Albania had in Rome. They gave the gold but not the list. So it's really a great question how it happened that no one Jew was released to the Germans from Albanians, both Muslims and Catholics. But it's also a great lecture of our history, and that's why I strongly believe we should not take it for granted, but we should do everything that for our kids and the kids of our kids, this remain a treasure to be very strongly protected and very much inspiring for the future.
Albania western border includes the Adriatic Sea. What current maritime security challenges does your country and others straddling the Adriatic have?
The Adriatic Sea, after the Montenegro accession to NATO, is practically a NATO border completely from up to down. So it's a sea that is very much secure, but of course where we have to continuously fight hand to hand with our partners against the common threats. And the common threats includes not only terrorism and violent extremism, but also the sources that finance these kind of activities, including different types of smugglings and drug trafficking and so on and so further. But I see that my time has run out, so I very much want again to thank them who thought to invite me, because it's not just an honor for me, but it's an honor for my country and for my fellow citizens to be here with you and to show you our very old and deep friendship, and to again welcome you to Albania, where there is a lot to see, there is a lot to learn, and where there is a unique space where beauty and hospitality live together. Thank you.
Mr. Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please.